So hello, my name is Rodrigo Davise and I will be presenting to you the Mexico City Principle and implementing guidelines on the promotion and marketing of prescription pharmaceutical products and medical devices. It is the FDA Circular Number 2013-024 and Administrative Order Number 2015-0053. So for the ethical interactions, help ensure that medical decisions are made in the best interest of patients. First is healthcare and patient focus. Means everything we do is intended to benefit patients. Next is the integrity. Means dealing ethically, honestly, and respectfully in everything we do. Next is independence. Means to respect the need of autonomous decision making of all parties, free from improper influence. Next is legitimate. Intent means everything we do is the right reason, is lawful, and aligns with the spirit and values of this principle. Transparency means a general willingness to be open about our actions while respecting legitimate commercial sensitivities and intellectual property rights. Next is accountability. Means a willingness to be responsible for our actions and interactions. So for our rationale and background, as provided by the 1987 Constitution, it is the state's policy to protect and promote the right to health of the people and instill health consciousness among them. This includes the adoption of an integrated and comprehensive approach to health development, which shall endeavor to make essential goods, health, and other social services available to all the people at affordable cost, as well as the establishments and maintenance of an effective food and drug regulatory system. So for our general objective, first to ensure that medical decisions are made in the best interest of the patients and that these are upheld by all stakeholders with the end goal of improving and promoting the rational use of prescription pharmaceutical products and medical devices and safeguarding patients' rights and welfare. So for our specific objective, to prescribe standards, guidelines, and regulations with respect to information, dissemination, advertisement, promotion, sponsorship, and other marketing activities and instrument about prescription pharmaceutical products and medical devices with the end goal of improving and promoting their rational use and safeguarding patients' rights and welfare. Scope and coverage. This order shall apply to all natural and jurisdictional persons and entities engaged in the dissemination or publication of information, advertisements and other marketing instruments, and promotion, sponsorship, and other marketing activities of prescription pharmaceutical products and medical devices, including their agents and or their industry association. This order shall ensure the ethical interaction between industry and other stakeholders shall be guided by the principles embodied in the Mexico City and Kuala Lumpur Business Code of Ethics, healthcare and patient-focused integrity, independence, legitimate intent, transparency, accountability, appropriateness, and advancement. So further, this shall not contravene the provision set in the Milk Code in the relation to promotion, sampling, and marketing. This shall be covered by a separate IRR on promotion and marketing. So for our implementation mechanism, the Department of Health, through the Office of the Secretary and the FDA, shall issue appropriate policies, standards, and guidelines to further implement the provision of this order. The FDA shall provide objective, consistent information, training, and advice to healthcare professionals and pharmaceutical and medical device industry on their respective obligation in compliance with this order as they become necessary. And for the companies, they are enjoined to formulate their own code of ethics aligned with this order. So first, interaction with healthcare professionals. Interaction between companies and healthcare professionals provide valuable scientific, clinical, product, and policy information about medicines that may lead to improved patient care. Next is appropriate marketing helps to ensure that medicines are used correctly for maximum patient benefit. Company relationships with healthcare professionals are critical to achieving these goals because they are enable companies to the said following. First, inform healthcare professionals about the benefits and risks of medicine to help advance appropriate patients' use. Next, provide scientific and educational information. And to support medical research and education. And lastly, by obtaining feedback and advice about our products through consultation with medical experts. See, all interactions with healthcare professionals are to be conducted in a professional and ethical manner. The healthcare professional must not be improperly influenced by companies, and nothing should be offered or provided by company in a manner that inappropriate influences a healthcare professional's prescribing practice. Next is the education and promotional activities should encourage the appropriate use of medicine by presenting the objectively and without exaggerating their properties, and should be in compliance with the provision prescribed by this principle and applicable local, national, and regional industry code of ethics. Next is the relationships between company personnel and healthcare professionals should encourage the development of a medical practice committed to patients' well-being and be based on truthful, accurate, and updated scientific evidence. So for the promotional information and activities, no medicine shall be promoted for use in a specific economy until the requisite approval for marketing for such use has been given in that economy. Promotion should be consistent with locally approved product information. So next is the promotional information should be clear, legible, accurate, balanced, fair, objective, and sufficient complete to enable healthcare professionals to form his or her own opinion of the therapeutic value of the medicine concerned. 3. One of the most G's of the said law is the safety of medicines. So the medicine provided by the companies will conform to high standards of quality, safety, and efficacy as determined by regulatory authorities in each economy in which they operate. And companies will report adverse events or adverse drug reaction to regulatory authorities such as the FDA, subject to applicable laws and regulations. So is symposia and congresses. So the focus and its purpose of all symposia, congresses, and other promotional or non-promotional scientific or professional meetings, or the so-called event for healthcare professionals, should be organized or sponsored by a company, should be to inform HCP about products and or to provide scientific and educational information only. Also, the company relationship with healthcare professionals are regulated by multiple entities and intended to benefit patients and to enhance the practice of medicine interactions. Should be focused on informing healthcare professionals about products, providing scientific and educational information, and supporting medical education, or CPD. Next is any sponsorship provided to individual healthcare professional must be conditional upon an obligation to prescribe, recommend, or promote any medicine. D. All events should be held in an appropriate venue that is conducive to the scientific or educational objectives and the purpose of the event or meeting. Companies should avoid using extravagant venues or resorts. E. Hospitals should be limited to refreshments and or meals incidental to the main purpose of the event and should not only be provided with the said following. First, to participants of the event and not their guests, or the guest, and is moderate and reasonable as judged by the local standards. Next is, companies should not pay any costs associated with individuals accompanying invited healthcare professionals. So for the informational presentation by company representatives, so in order to provide important scientific information and to respect healthcare professionals' abilities to manage their schedules and provide patient care, Company representatives may take the opportunity to present information during healthcare professionals' working day, including mealtimes, in accordance with applicable laws and regulations. First, occasional meals during business meeting, and offering takeout meals or meals to be eaten without the company representative being present is not appropriate. So for entertainment, the company interaction are professional in nature and are intended to facilitate the exchange of medical or scientific information that will benefit patient care. So next is providing tickets to the theater or sporting event is not acceptable. This also according to the Mexico Principle that anything that is being given to you by the company, it should not be outside the business or the ethical way that will only benefit the patients, diba? So basically, as they said, providing tickets to the theater or sporting event is not acceptable. No standalone entertainment or other leisure or social activity should be provided or paid by the companies, only for the patient's benefit. So for educational items and gifts, payments in cash or cash equivalents, such as gift certificates or gifts for the personal benefit of healthcare professionals, should not be given or provided or offered to healthcare professionals. Why? It is appropriate for companies who are permitted by law or local codes of ethics to offer items only designed for educational purposes. These items should not subsidize normal routine operations of a medical practice. Support for continuing medical education. So continuing medical education, also known as independent medical education, helps physicians and other medical professionals to obtain information and insights that can contribute to the improvement of patient care and medical practice. So actually this CPD units or CPD continuing professional development is the way that being a professional is being updated in the current trends or updates in the medical practice. Also, it can be granted through scholarships, subsidized support, consulting, contracts. Educational or practice-related items should not be provided or offered to healthcare professionals in exchange for recommending and prescribing medicine. That's the main purpose. So, only by giving them the educational or practice related, but not pushing these medical professions to interfere with the recommendation and prescribing of their medicines. And lastly, the company should have reasonable expectation that the grant is for the purpose of supporting legitimate education, scientific or medical research only. So for the samples, when used appropriately, samples can be important tool for healthcare professionals and provide benefit to patients' health outcomes. In accordance with local laws and regulations, samples of medicines supplied at no charge may be provided to healthcare professionals. In order to enhance patients' care, sample must not be resolved or otherwise misused. Companies should have adequate system of controlling and accountability for samples provided to healthcare professionals. And samples should not be used as payment for services returned for favorable treatment or other inappropriate endorsements. Then is consultant speaker arrangement. Consulting arrangement with healthcare professionals allow companies to obtain information or advice from medical experts on such topics as the marketplace, product, therapeutic areas, and needs of patient. Consultants or speakers can be offered reasonable compensations for service such as meal and travel, but only based on fair market value, or other than that all expenses can be compensated. Next is conduct training for the company representative. This is very important since they're the one who is the first line dealing with the other healthcare professionals. They should be also updated through the current trends and being trained for the competency, right? So companies should take appropriate action when representatives fail to comply with relevant company policies that are consistent with this principle in national and local industry code of ethics. So next is public sector relationship and procurement. So the decision-making process by companies and governments during and including the government procurement process through bidding or any other procedures of government procurement must be professional and ethical. There should be no attempt to exert inappropriate influence. Next is companies must provide accurate and balanced information to the government. C is the companies and government officials should ensure that their relationship and fee-for-service arrangements comply with government ethics, rules, and procedures. So for the clinical trials, companies must ensure transparency and accountability in the presentation of research and publication of study results from clinical trials to phase 1 to phase 4. Clinical trials should not be used as inappropriate inducements for past or future sales. And that clinical trials should be undertaken in the ethical manner without undue influence by competitors. Next is company donation for charitable purposes. As a demonstration of good corporate citizenship, companies recognize their responsibility to support worthwhile activities both within and outside our communities. So donation is acceptable in accordance with applicability of laws and regulations. And companies should ensure that such support is not undertaken solely for product promotional reasons and is not directed solely for product promotional purposes, only for donating or helping others or the community that is applicable to the laws and regulations. So 16 is the patient organization. Companies should respect the autonomy of patient organizations and their independence. And to support from companies must not be conditional on the promotion of specific medicine. And to the last is the adherence to principle. All companies that interact with healthcare professionals, government officials, and other stakeholders should adopt procedures to assure adherence to this principle in local nationals and regional industry codes of ethics. Healthcare professionals, government officials, and other stakeholders should respect this principle and adopt consistent standards applicable. So that's all, and thank you.